transportation, logistics, management, trains, planes, automobiles, and a whole lot more. I'm breaking down a bunch of really interesting upcoming transportation games that will be steaming into a station near you very soon indeed. From huge freight network builders to intricate road simulations, there is something for every transport enthusiast in my list of the biggest and the best upcoming transportation games. Let's get cracking. The most anticipated upcoming transportation game is, of course, Transport Fever 3. This is a management transport tycoon game where you have to plan, build, and optimize a sprawling logistics network that links dozens of settlements with over 30 industries onshore and offshore. You'll deliver goods, move people, and fuel economic growth while costs, congestion, and rising demand keep the pressure on. The core loop is all about laying tracks and roads. You need to place stations and ports, then route trains, trucks, planes, and ships between them. That earns you cash, which unlocks upgrades to tackle new bottlenecks, which pushes you into fresh terrain, including temperate valleys, alpine slopes, deserts, tropical islands, and more. And this is all across more than a century of evolving transport and technology. You can expect busy timetables, maintenance trade-offs, cargo priorities, and towns that dynamically grow when you serve them well. This is, of course, the third iteration in the Transport Fever series. Transport Fever 2 was a smash hit, and Transport Fever 3 really looks to take things to a whole new level. Not necessarily different, just an evolution to the Transport Fever game series, which I am totally okay with because the second game absolutely smashed it out of the park. Now, currently, release is planned for 2026, but this is a big game and it could take a long time, so make sure you wishlist it over on Steam. You can find a link to the game as well as all of the other games that I'm going to be talking about in this video down in the description below. Suffice to say, I am super excited for Transport Fever 3. I cannot wait to get my hands on this one. From the huge logistical networks of Transport Fever 3 down to the intricate intersection designing of Junxions. Junxions is a game all about becoming a traffic engineer. You will scout out a range of different intersections and junctions across a city and have to try and optimize that. Whether or not you want to deploy a single lane road, or you want to deploy a 6-lane monstrosity, or a bus lane, or a bike lane, or tram tracks, whatever it is, you have complete disposal on how to handle the traffic management of your city. Now, this is a pared-back city building experience, which means that you won't be dealing with some of the, more boring aspects of city management, like trying to keep your people happy. This game is solely focused on junctions and traffic management and trying to avoid gridlock. And I'm very much here for that. I think that's such an unbelievably interesting take on the city building and transportation genres. This game is due out in 2025, but we've not heard anything about a firm release date quite yet. It is being published by Hooded Horse, and they are very good at giving their developers a whole heck of a lot of latitude to make the game as good as possible, so there is a little bit of a chance that it gets bumped into the next year. However, I will be keeping my eye very closely on this title indeed. So get subscribed if you're not already to watch my coverage of this game when it arrives. Worldwide Rush is a transportation tycoon management game set on a global scale, and I actually checked out this game on the channel fairly recently. You can check out my video for more detailed gameplay and commentary up in the top right hand corner of the screen right now. I think this game is very interesting. It's got a lot of premise. It's fairly sort of pared back and simplistic at the moment, but from what I see and from what I played, yeah, I like it. I think this is good. Anything that gets me, moving trains and people and passengers from place to place, I think is a tremendously satisfying experience. There's also a couple of different game modes that you can play. You can play the classic sort of tycoon game mode where you're competing against AI competitors, or you can play a mini metro style sort of game where you need to make sure that you're moving passengers out of certain cities before the place gets overcrowded. Yeah, there's a fairly decent amount of stuff to experiment and play around with Worldwide Rush. There's a few more updates planned, or at least the developers claim there's a few more updates planned in the pipeline, and I think after a couple of updates, potentially one of those things being multiplayer, I think this game could be a really, really excellent Tycoon transport experience. But let me know what you think of this one down in the comments below. Are you going to be picking this up? What do you think of it? I'd be very grateful for your opinions down in the comments. EarthX 2 is a space company management style game where you need to transport rockets and indeed people into space and perhaps beyond. You're going to be able to terraform Mars, build rockets, and hopefully mine for vital resources to fuel your expansion. This is, of course, the sequel to the original game, which was called EarthX, and I very much enjoyed it. It's obviously modeled on the whole sort of like SpaceX rocket company style thing, and it's got this gorgeous sort of like low poly art style. I think this game may look quite simple, but it's actually got quite a lot of heart, and as I say, I really enjoyed playing the first one a bunch. Anyway, no firm word on a release date quite yet. It's currently slated for launch in 2025, but, you know, given that this is a very indie project, that might slip, and if it does, that is completely okay. But I'll definitely be checking this one out when it launches. Of all of the games that are on this list, I think Musgro Farm is definitely, at least for me, the one that I am most intrigued to play. This is a game all about automating a logistics network on a farm. It's got Tycoon elements, it's got upgrade elements, it's kind of got everything. And I played the demo of this game. You can check out my video up in the top right-hand corner, but I really just can't wait to play the full experience, which is supposedly coming at some point in 2025. It's all about planting crops, and then you need to combine them, you need to take them from the fields, you need to put them into the factories, turn them into recipes, and then distribute those crops for sale and hopefully make a little bit of money in the process. Optimization, very, very important in order to ensure that you are able to maximize your output and, of course, maximize revenue. There's also a tech tree, and that's going to allow you to expand and upgrade your farm. This is just a really sort of great game. I really enjoyed my time with the demo. As I say, I think there's a lot to like here, and I would strongly encourage you to check out the link in the description if you're interested and wishlist it, because wishlisting all of these games will help the developers. Stoplights. Stoplights is a transportation management game all about building an efficient train network to support the growing needs of your cities. You need to make connections by building rails, controlling train routes with traffic signals to get essential resources to where they need to be in time. There's honestly not a huge amount of information to go on with this game. It is only fairly new to Steam, but it looks like it's set in a sort of hex-based world, and I can imagine a world where you have hundreds and hundreds of trains operating, and you need to make sure that they all do so in as efficient a manner as possible. Lots and lots of activity happening in the game. Certainly, that's what it looks like. Will it pan out like that? I have absolutely no idea, but what I can say, this game is scheduled for release in 2025, so hopefully we won't have too long to wait to see more of this title. This is Constracktion, and this is a slightly more hands-on transportation-style game. It's primarily split into two parts. One, there is the act of actually building the track yourself, and in order to do that, you're going to need to make sure that you take your track-laying train and drive it all over the map. Just make sure that you don't build curves that are, you know, too sharp, or elevation increases that are too steep. It's all about making sure that that you can set up the perfect rail network in order to ensure that the trains that come afterwards will be able to deliver their resources in a timely and efficient manner. And that's the sort of second part of the process. It is moving goods between different places. Honestly, there's not a huge amount of to go on with this title. However, it is set for release on the 1st of September 2025, so fingers crossed we'll get to see a little bit more when it launches. Truck World Australia puts you in control of a multi-ton, multi-wheel truck, and you have to drive and transport goods all across Australia. If that's your thing, then that is your thing. I know people absolutely adore these sort of style of games. There's actually quite a lot of sort of simulation style transportation games that usually focus on some super niche element, but the difference between them and Truck World Australia and why I'm covering it is because this does seem to be like a genuinely interesting sort of Euro truck simulator style experience where you're just going to be transporting goods all day long, and I'm very much interested in that. Airport Control 25 puts you in control of, well, an airport. You need to tell planes where to go, you need to tell them which runway to take off from, taxi using which taxiway. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of aircraft terms that I don't understand that are part of this Steam page. Looks to be in sort of fairly early development, but what I can see, I mean, looks very, very intriguing. I really do sort of like management games that focus on the airport, and this game, Airport Control 25, seems to be taking a much more realistic approach in comparison to some of the titles that we've seen recently, such as Airport CEO, which takes a more sort of cartoony approach to airport management. Either way, I'm excited for this one. It's coming out in 2026, so yeah, hopefully we'll get to see this one early in 2026 next year. Truck City is quite an interesting transportation game to try and pin down. Fundamentally, it is about building up a fleet of trucks. Those fleet of trucks move resources from factory to factory in order to build sequentially more sophisticated items. With those items, you can either sell them or you can slam them into a research facility and you can research some tech, which will make your life as a truck tycoon operative just that little bit easier. Now, you can check out my link to a video that I'm working on, well, right now as we speak, up in the top right-hand corner if you want to see more of Truck City. I think it's quite an interesting concept for a game. There's not many sort of city building elements other than the fact that you build factories, but I think the mechanics of building factories are definitely ones that I like. I really like the sort of automation elements that are in this game. I just hope that before launch, of which there is no confirmed date quite yet, there's a few more options on how to sort of build up a better, more sophisticated road network, because for now, you can just build sort of like regular road, regular sort of single carriageway road, and one-way road, and I would really like the option to have like highways or multi-lane roads. More stuff like that I think would make this into an excellent game. But I think the foundation, the premise is really, really strong, and this game kind of came out of nowhere for me, but I'm super excited to see more. So that is my top 10 upcoming transportation style games, but don't click away quite yet because I've got some bonus entries in this list. If you just can't get enough transportation management style titles, I've got them. Let's immediately dive in, shall we? Next up, we've got Times of Progress. Times of Progress isn't a sort of straight transportation management style game. It is also a city builder. You have to build a city and then you have to transport all of the resources from around the map to that city in order to ensure that it can grow. Very much sort of like Transport Tycoon Deluxe, something like that, except this time in Times of Progress, it is set during the Industrial Revolution, which I think is a fascinating time period to set a video game in, because you can just do so much, and there's so much technological change over that time period. So I'm really hoping that the game decides to focus in on exactly what that sort of technology change and evolution is. I love it. I love Rise of Industry. This game looks sort of very similar to that, very similar to Transport Tycoon. So yeah, really want to see more of this one. No word on a release date yet, currently listed as coming soon. So yeah, definitely get subscribed because I'll be covering this one 100%. Century of Steam is a physics-based multiplayer railroad simulator and strategy game. You need to build your route through beautiful landscapes, customize and operate your fleet of historic trains, discover the sights, sounds, and stories of railroading with industry-leading steam, firing, and audio simulation. That's what the game claims. It has been under development for quite a while now. There's been a bit of a dearth of updates, unfortunately, but it looks like the developers are certainly back to posting updates on the Steam page. You can check out, as I say, the game linked down in the description below, and check out some of the development updates that are progressing. The game, I think, looks quite interesting, if albeit a little bit generic at the present moment. Definitely a sort of focus on historical trains, and if you like historical trains, then you'll probably at least be somewhat interested in this title. Global Magnates Shipping Tycoon. This is a tycoon game that is set across the world, where you have to develop a network of ships that are able to go from place to place and hopefully load up on cargo, and then take that cargo to another place and sell it. I mean, yeah, look, it's a management tycoon game with ships in it. There's not much more to say. These games always tend to look quite similar, so, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. I suppose there is a demo available for this game that you can check out right now, and hopefully the rest of the game will be out in 2025, when it is currently slated for release over on Steam. So that just about wraps up my list of the upcoming transportation games that you can expect to release in 2025 and 2026. What do you think? Are there games on this list that you are going to be checking out? Please do let me know down in the comments below. But for now, and from me, folks, thank you ever so much for watching. I've been Oba the Potato. I'll catch you next time. Bye.